voice like rain on an old tin roof brings stories alive with a soothing truth. In pages he weaves a world so light, the stars lean close to kiss the night. His voice lulls hearts in restless mind, lost in tales where dreams unwind. The book feather reads as shadows rise, his words are calm as lullabies. So turn the page and close your eyes, float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the story's tide, relax and let the world subside. 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, and words no borders, no distance ends. Worlds collide in this gentle tone, a whisper makes you feel at home. Each line he shares feels like coming back to a hearth of words in the silent black. From novels deep to poems that sway, he reads the night into the day. So turn the page and close your eyes, float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the story's tide, relax and let the world subside. 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, in words no borders, no distance ends. Across the oceans the story's tide, relax and let the world subside. A voice like rain on an old tin roof brings stories alive with a soothing truth. In pages he weaves a world so light, the stars lean close to kiss the night. His voice lulls hearts in restless mind, lost in tales where dreams unwind. The book feather reads as shadows rise, his words are calm as lullabies. So turn the page and close your eyes, float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the story's tide, relax.
Yup,
and
that
let
tasted purple.
the world subside. A 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, in words no borders, no distance ends. Worlds collide in this gentle tone, a whisper makes you feel at home. Each line he shares feels like coming back to a hearth of words in the silent black. From novels deep to poems that sway, he reads the night into 1,000 accents the moonlight bends, in words no borders, no distance ends. Across the oceans the story's tide, relax and let the world subside.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Giggity. All right.
Seems quiet. Too quiet.
I'm Batman. Gotham is never safe without me.
What time is it? It's 7 o'clock. Okay, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You can attach towers? Shut up. Impromptu performance this evening, which I must say was indeed a welcome distraction. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. You're very kind.
This is gonna be funny.
Hello, everybody. It is good to see you. Purple Jesse Renato. Romanigato. Not feeling 100% today, but I still wanted to read. Because, well, it would have felt like a really long time if I waited until Tuesday. So Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to be Kyle Reese in the movie, not the Terminator, because that character only had 27 lines. Thankfully, the director convinced him. Interesting. You know, being the star of a movie and still only having 27 lines, that's not a bad gig. Rexter, me neither. Sorry, dude. Your 50% is more than 100% of most people? Oh, I don't know. I think I spent... Well, let's see. I didn't even wake up until a little after 9 a.m., which is super unusual for me. And I basically stayed in bed until about 1:30. And then I couldn't stay in bed anymore because I was getting too fidgety. So I tinkered around with the storage bench that I'm building. I'm starting to actually assemble it. So I'm kind of working on that right now. And then I realized the time, and I was like, okay, I should probably go get washed up, eat a little something, and then come down here. Nobody can argue that Terminator 2 is a masterpiece. Or isn't a masterpiece. Yeah, I knew what you meant. You know, it's been so long since I've seen those movies. I know I liked them. I just can barely remember them. Is that bad? That's hot. Okay. Here is your America puzzle tonight, the Alamo. I've been there a couple times. It's pretty cool to look through. After T2, they're just okay.
Hello there.
Hello there indeed. It's on the wrong screen. I should just move over. Okay. Now all of that stuff will show up. Yeah. So I'm gonna do my best tonight. So you'll have to forgive me if I'm not quite as rambunctious as usual. Looks like we're gonna start off in monotone anyway. All right, and the reason I'm starting like pretty much immediately is because Jesse gave Rexter a sub. No, that's not it. Jesse, thank you for giving Rexter a sub. That was very kind of you. Where is my... First of all, let's take 5 off the wheel, because I almost forgot to do that. But I've got someone coming at 8 o'clock, my time, to buy the table that I repurposed, or restored, I should say. So I need to make sure I'm upstairs and ready for that. Okay. Took care of that. Let's add 1 to the count. So yeah, I just need to be upstairs and available. Don't sell it for anything less than 5K. I'll see what I can do. Jesse, thank you again. This spin is for you. Page 101. It's a lovely page, I'm sure. All right, chapter 11. Excuse me. Chapter 11 is on page 149. Sunday, the 26th of February, we're in Jay's apartment. Let's see what happens. Oh, I almost forgot to start. We're doing 10 races today, by the way. You can see right here, there's only 10 listed. I almost forgot to start this. We always do 16, so I thought, you know what? Let's shorten it up and see if that changes anything. So you have 60 seconds. Good luck. The following day passed much the same as the previous one. Adele stayed in her room for most of it, and for that, Jay was thankful. He made food for her whenever he ate, and drinks too, which she would leave her room for. But aside from that, and seeing her come out of her room to use the bathroom once, he saw nothing of her all day. Jay still couldn't fully relax with her in this house. He walked on eggshells, afraid to put one foot wrong, and the fact she still didn't speak wasn't helping to relieve his stress. Though, she seemed happy to keep out of his way, and happy to be told when to eat and drink. He wondered if she would eat at all if he didn't make something for her. Jay had been arranging his return to work for... Return to work for most of the day. They had given him a disciplinary hearing for missing so many shifts with no explanation, and Mr. Johnson, one of the company directors, wanted to meet with him. The thought of it set his nerves on edge. He didn't know if he would still have a job after Monday. He turned in early for the night and tried not to obsess about it. There would be other work, even if he had to work a cash job until he found something more suitable. The following morning, he got himself up, showered and ready for work, and kept telling himself things would be okay. He was dressed in his smartest gray suit and was grabbing another coffee when he spotted her out of the corner of his eye. She stood motionless behind him, and he jumped once he realized she was there. Why does she just stand there and not speak? Morning, he called, as usual, and upbeat as he could manage. He didn't know why he bothered. She never responded. She only looked at him. Oh, please forgive me. Oh, man. She only looked at him with the same plain, expressionless face, and I just realized I wasn't reading in monotone at all. I do apologize, Renato. And then I just saw your message. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't monotone. So I'm going to switch to monotone now. You are leaving. It was more of a statement than a question. He wasn't sure what to make of her words. He swallowed down his apprehension and said in a calm voice, I am going to work. If anybody comes for me, I will kill her. Her tone was not friendly, but not threatening. It was more like she was stating a fact. Jay swallowed the lump in his throat. He hadn't intended to tell anyone about his unusual house guest. If he was honest, he would rather try to forget she was here. I won't say anything to anyone. I thought we were going to trust each other. When will you be back? The question took him by surprise. Was this it now? Johnny? Was he still a prisoner in his home, except now he had permission to leave for work? Would she always want to keep tabs on him and know where he was at all times? And when he would be home? And when he would be home? He didn't think he could handle that. I'm not sure. I won't be done until evening. I have a lot to catch up on. I might be late.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Kay's here. Kay's here. Kay is here. Kay is in my stream. Kay's here. Oh my god. Kay. Hi, Kay. Hi. Okay, stay calm. Breathe. Hi, Kay.
Hi, Kay. No, I wouldn't say you're late. I just started, like, literally at 6 because I have to make sure I'm upstairs by 8 o'clock. There's someone coming to buy the table I restored, so I just need to be up there to meet them and facilitate the sale. So I just actually started on time. Yes, for 5K. Yep, absolutely.
Hey, who's that handsome guy?
Me. I mean, an argument could be made for Johnny, but me. I might be late. Or I might be home within an hour if they fire my ass. She didn't push the subject. She returned to her room without another word, and Jay left a moment later. He felt much better for it. Being in her company was tough. Marcoux was waiting for him as he pulled into his parking space, and he bombarded him with questions as soon as he left the car. Where have you been? What's been going on? Glasby's been throwing a fit. I just needed some time, he said defensively. It was Tanya's anniversary last week. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I didn't think... I had no idea. Jay shook his head. It's okay. It doesn't matter. He hated himself for using his dead girlfriend as an excuse, although it was sort of true, for the first 3 days, anyway. Are you off the booze now? You were pretty drunk when you called me before. Yeah, I haven't had a drink since Wednesday. But that's good, because I think Glasby's planning to test you. It wasn't uncommon for random substance tests to be given at work. At least he had touched nothing since Adele had fallen into his life. So, you have a few bruises, Marcoux said with a raised eyebrow. I got into a bit of trouble. Nothing to worry about. He shrugged, trying to feign nonchalance. What kind of trouble? It's nothing. He walked forward, trying to escape Marco's questions, and winced in pain as he pulled open the heavy door to the building, a reminder that he was still not fully healed from taking a beating in the alley a few days ago. Marco stared at him through narrowed eyes, but he asked no more questions. Jay walked straight to his office and tried to ignore the sinking feeling in his chest. He got his head down and started working through his emails, but it wasn't long before Glasby found him. It wasn't as bad as he expected. He got bawled out and Glasby shouted a lot, but Jay had always been good at apologizing and acting contrite. Just like I've always been good at winning races. You can't blame me though. I'm just good at it. Good at being randomly lucky. He had a talent for embellishing the truth, and Glasby left feeling more sympathy for Jay than he deserved. Oh, it's hot. But it's so good. For now, his job was safe, and he felt a monumental amount of relief. That was until Glasby announced that Frank Johnson was taking time out of his busy schedule to see him today. I guess he's not out of hot water yet. Mr. Johnson is coming in to speak with you, Powell. I hope you're prepared to beg for your job. I doubt he has much in the way of sympathy. He is all about productivity. Jay's shoulders sagged with the weight of stress again. He just might lose his job today after all. He knuckled down and cleared as much of the backlog as he could. Marcoux had covered for him and dealt with most of the problems, but Jay was left with a staffing issue. They had lost another stock checker in his absence. Spending hours tucked away in the lonely electrical stockroom doing monotonous work wasn't a pleasant job, but surely they could find someone who'd stick it out. Losing a stock checker meant the pickers would be short-handed, and if the pickers were short-handed, then productivity would be down, and they would likely pin it on Jay and his unauthorized absence. Now he was getting back into his normal rhythm of work. He felt himself relax, and Adele had barely crossed his mind at all. It wasn't until he broke for lunch that thoughts of her invaded his head. Would she have eaten anything? So far, he had provided all her meals. He didn't understand why she didn't look after herself. Hello, Angelic. Nope, we just started reading literally at 6 o'clock. Because I kind of started chatting a few minutes sooner. Welcome in. Frank Johnson arrived at the building after lunch to meet with Jay. Frank had his own office at the top of the building, but Jay had never seen inside it before because Frank rarely visited the warehouses. His real office was in one of the large skyscrapers at the Grid. Those buildings screamed money and success. It didn't fill Jay with confidence that he was lowering himself to come here just to see him. Good afternoon, Jay. Take a seat. Oh. Frank said in a businesslike tone, gesturing to the chair on the other side of his desk. Jay shook his hand and sat, not knowing how to act in this meeting. There were no other people here. No HR people, no employment law people, no witnesses, no moderator, and nobody to take the minutes. Oh, look, I won again. You guys gotta do better. Can't let me win all the races. Step it up.
Guys, I'm so excited. Sorry, that was my happy dance.
Oh my god, a clip with your face. And hello, Mad Locust. Tea is feeling good. It looked like if he was going to be fired, they weren't planning to do it lawfully. He wouldn't stand a chance at an appeal. I'm at my mom's on my phone, so no puzzle magic from me. Hey, no worries. It's good to see your face in chat, or your name in chat. It's good to see you. Frank began by introducing himself, as if Jay didn't already know who he was. He started by referencing Jay's good qualities and his positive for work. Then he got straight to the point and asked him about his previous absences and his alcohol consumption. Jay couldn't help becoming defensive. He argued his case, saying how he had been a model employee for the last 12 months. Instead of keeping his cool, he got angry and began shouting that he worked his ass off for this company, was never sick, tried not to be late. He was always late, and handled a lot of shit they did not pay him for. He knew he wasn't doing himself any favors, but he couldn't help himself. All the stress of the last few days came pouring out, and Frank Johnson got the full force of it. Frank sat and took Jay's outburst. He didn't silence him or interrupt. When Jay came to the end of his tirade, he was panting, and angry tears had sprung up in the back of his eyes. Jay wasn't much of a crier, and he felt embarrassed that tears were present. Who cries in front of their boss during a disciplinary hearing? Frank sat back in his chair and puffed out his cheeks, slowly breathing out his breath. Jay, you are a valuable employee. I see your worth, and the other members of the staff speak highly of you. It might surprise you to learn my reasons for coming here to see you today. My intention isn't to remove you from the staff force. I came to offer you some support. Jay looked up at him, perplexed. May I speak candidly with you? He nodded, unsure of what was likely to come next. What we speak about in this meeting will remain confidential. I do not share private information about myself lightly. Yes, sir. Of course. Frank nodded. My wife was an alcoholic. She struggled for years. She tried hard to beat it, but it had her gripped. It's a terrible, evil disease, Jay. I've looked all over your file, and I understand the sporadic absences and the marks on your record are due to alcohol and substance misuse. I'm not here to judge you for it. I'd like to help. He reached forward and handed a card across the table. It was for addiction therapy. Did this help your wife? Jay asked. Frank shook his head. My wife never conquered her addictions. She committed suicide 11 years ago, he said. There was a hardness to his voice that Jay didn't know how to react to. Okay, figuring it out. Only 10 races tonight, don't forget. Less chances to overtake my commanding lead. But I'm sure you'll figure it out. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jay started to say, but Frank cut him off. It was a long time ago, and I didn't come here for sympathy, he said, brushing off Jay's words. I came because I can stop what happened to her from happening to you. Then I want to help. Jay swallowed hard. He could deny he had a problem. As far as he was concerned, he didn't have a problem. But there were so many instances of him drinking to excess to block out Tanya and even before that, trying to deal with the demons of his childhood and less than ideal upbringing. He had been in trouble so many times before, he couldn't find any words. Instead, he took the card from Frank's hand and pocketed it. He had no intention of calling the number, but told himself he would try harder and not drink to excess. Perhaps he ought to adopt a never drink alone policy. I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. I know I've been unprofessional. Yes, you have, he said, pinning him with his intimidating stare. I don't want you to leave here thinking you aren't in trouble. We will be watching and monitoring you from now on. Consider this your final warning. You have a lot of potential. Get some help. Get yourself together and show me I'm not wrong about you. Yes, sir. They shook hands again, and Jay walked back to his office, feeling a strange mix of both shame and pride. He'd spent his entire existence coasting through life without applying himself, but his boss thought he was worth keeping. He had to show him he was. Jay was feeling so much better about everything until he got in his car and started for home. He hadn't worried about Adele all day, but now he was on his way back home. The anxiety built. Had she been in her room all day? Or had she ventured out? Maybe she had left the apartment. Maybe she had left and would not come back. He shook his head at the hopeful thoughts. There was no way he would ever get that lucky. Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. Either I'm in dead last or I have a commanding lead. I can't tell which. Oh, wait. No. Yep. Commanding lead. He took a few moments to calm himself and organize his thoughts once he had pulled into the underground parking. He didn't want to see her or walk on eggshells around her. She still terrified him. He swallowed hard and steeled himself, pushing open the door to his battered old silver car. He traipsed up the stairs, dragging his feet, taking his time, whiling away the minutes. What? Yeah. She was nowhere to be seen when he entered the apartment. Her bedroom door was closed, and he heard no noise coming from her room. Adele? Are you home? He could have kicked himself. Why the hell did he just do that? He was hoping she wouldn't answer, praying she had left while he was at work. He had no such luck. He heard the shuffling of feet on the other side of the door, and it slowly opened. She stood facing him, her plain, unsmiling face staring back at him. Hi, he said, smiling at her and trying not to sound nervous. She didn't respond. She just looked at him. He really should have thought this through. Have you eaten? He asked. It was all he could think of. Her face changed a fraction. She looked momentarily afraid. She looked down to the floor as she answered a solitary, yes. Oh. It surprised him to hear it. He looked at her. Her body language was so passive. She was staring at his feet, her arms dangling by her sides, palms facing up. Does this mean you won't be wanting any dinner with me? Or do you mean you ate earlier? She continued to stare at his feet. Okay, he said. Great talking to you, as usual. He bit his tongue, wondering why the hell he was baiting her. She was a lot less terrifying when she was like this. If anything, she seemed to be more afraid of him. catch on, man. She didn't move, and he eventually backed away from her to his room to get changed. He took his time, hoping that she would have retreated into her own room before he was done. He was disappointed when he emerged to find her still standing in the same awkward, passive stance, almost as though she needed permission to move. Liberating Super Earth is fun. You know, Purple, I gotta be honest, I completely forgot you played. It wasn't until I was getting stream set up that I saw you were on Helldivers. You need to remind me so that we can get you in when I play. Okay? Good talk. Jay gave her a sideways glance as he hurried to the kitchen. He needed something quick and easy tonight. After a hasty search of his freezer, he pulled out a frozen pizza. Man, I don't remember the last time I had a frozen pizza. That was like many years ago. Yes, we're playing with my friend Midnight. Oh, good. You hate that track more than I hate my mother-in-law? Holy cow, that's a statement, Rexter. Dang, bro. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't just cook for himself. He pulled out another of the... Really? He pulled out another of the same and shoved them both in the oven together. You know me, I say it as it is. This is true. You do. I hope you like pizza, he called to her from the kitchen. He saw how she jumped as though he had just burned her. Adele? He spoke her name, and her eyes lifted from the floor to find his face. It was unnatural the way she did it. No other muscles moved. His words wouldn't come out. Why are you standing like that? I wanted to see if it sounded like... I don't know if I count that as screaming. You know, I don't control the noises, I just find them online. Good luck, everyone that's putting their balls in the race. Her eyes fell once more to the floor. She seemed to tense up, as though she was waiting for some sort of pain, and a deep sympathy filled him. It was as though she had no idea how to communicate at all. Why don't you sit here? He asked her, as he slid a dining chair from under the table. Her eyes lifted from the floor once more and settled on the chair. She walked with careful steps across the apartment, eyeing Jay suspiciously. He waited until she was seated before he pulled out his own chair and sat directly across from her. What did you do today? He asked her. The look of fear was back on her face, and she seemed to search for words. He tried a different question. Did you go outside? No. The answer was instant. She seemed more able to give direct...
Ask me about my wiener!
Oh, chaos is here. Look out, everybody. Okay. Why can I guess not. Hi, Chaos. Thank you for the wiener. How is your wiener? Is it good? Is it a good wiener? Back to the puzzle. Okay. Completely lost my place. Again. I was looking at the wrong page entirely. I know, it's all your fault, Chaos. It's all your fault. The answer was instant. She seemed more able to give direct yes or no answers. He decided closed questioning would be the best way forward. Did you watch TV? No. He thought for a minute. Did you read? No. It dawned on him that she may not know how to read. He asked her, do you know how to read? Yes. Okay, what else? You said you ate. What did you eat? The fear again. She looked so distressed. Bread. Just bread? He asked her, making a face. Yes. He was relaxing around her again. She seemed far more afraid than he did right now. He leant back into his chair, considering her. She already promised she wouldn't hurt him. She promised he was perfectly safe. Do you want a drink? He asked her. She looked down at the table and didn't answer. He stared at her for a moment. Then he asked, Adele, are you thirsty? Yes. It was almost a whisper, an almost shame-filled, terrified-sounding response. Help yourself. He pointed to the kitchen behind her. Cups are in there. He pointed to the cupboard. There's juice in the fridge, or water, or... It says soda. But I'm going to change it to pop. There's juice in the fridge, or water, or pop. Our author is going to be like, what the hell? She seemed to be frozen. I'm not planning to be your maid, Adele. He bit his tongue and tried to quell his fear. What the hell was wrong with him? Why was he always like this? He took a breath and tried again, without the sarcasm. If you want a drink, get one. She rose from the table and turned robotically toward the kitchen. Her movements were slow and precise. She poured herself some water, returned to the table, and hovered for a second before finally deciding to sit. She seemed to be torn, having some sort of mental standoff with herself about whether to drink the water. Jay pulled his phone from his pocket, checked his emails, and saw how she waited until he was busy before she dared to drink the water. For the next few minutes, he fiddled with his phone, seemingly ignoring the strange girl in front of him. He wasn't, though. He was observing everything. She did not move. Her body was statue still. She did not slouch, tap her feet, or swing her legs. Even her chest barely moved as she silently drew breath. If she didn't make him so uncomfortable, it would be easy to forget she was even here. Oh dear. The Bookfather won again. Who even let that guy race? Sorry guys, you are racing for second and third. Good luck. Jay turned his attention back to the food. He removed it from the oven, plating it up and returning to the table with it. He slid one towards her and saw her look at it questioningly. Never tried pizza before? He asked her, smiling. No. He picked up a slice and indicated for her to do the same. They ate in silence until Jay spoke to her. What do you think? Do you like it? there it was again. That look of fear on her face. Then her eyes fell downward to the tabletop. "It's fine if you don't," he said, laughing a little. It wasn't the best pizza he'd tasted, but it was cheap and quick to cook. I'm trying to remember the name of the baked or frozen pizza that I used to get. I can visually see it, I just can't think of the name. But it was like 1,200 calories per serving or something ridiculous like that. It was just insane. But I ate it way more than I should have in my 20s. At the time, like, you could get it on sale for like $2 a pizza. Pretty sure it's not going to be that cheap anymore, but anyway. Jay continued to eat, and she copied, matching his pace. In the last hour, his feelings had shifted from being massively afraid to feeling sort of sorry for her. She didn't seem to have any ability to communicate, and it was obvious she was nervous and afraid. It made no sense. If everything they said on the news report was true, she was supposed to be dangerous. "So, you just sat all day? Except for when you ate some bread?" He picked up where the strained conversation had left off before. She still wasn't looking at him. She stared down at the table. "Adele, it's not a trick question. There aren't any wrong answers here," he said, trying to work out why she wouldn't or couldn't respond to him. "Yes," she answered his question. "You sat all day and did nothing?" "Yes." "Don't you get bored or lonely?" "No." "Okay," he said in a voice that indicated he thought she was either lying or crazy. He cleared the plates and threw them in the sink to soak. Then he busied himself again with work emails. He was far more relaxed with her in his home now, not nearly as uncomfortable as he had felt just one day ago. Even though she continued to sit stock still, she didn't move at all. Even when he'd finished his work and went to bed, she still hadn't moved. I'm going to bed now, Adele. I will see you tomorrow, okay?" "Yes." He shook his head as he wandered towards his room, wondering if she would still be sitting there in the exact same spot in the morning. The answer is a definite maybe. The dog is going nuts all the time. Wow, Rexter making a name for himself. Well done. 3 races to go. We're at a break in the story, and ads are going to run in about 16 minutes. There's another break in a couple pages, so I'll get to the next break, and then I'll run the ads. The next morning, Jay got up and showered as normal. She was not at the table, and her bedroom door was closed. She must have gone to bed at least. He wasn't nearly as sure of himself as he was last night. He was relieved she'd remained locked away, out of sight, and he didn't have to see her before he left for work. He didn't want to make it awkward, strained conversations, or wonder if she was going to hurt him. Counting his blessings, he hurried out the door, thankful he didn't have to interact with her. When he returned, she was still nowhere to be seen. She had been on his mind all day, like a problem that just wouldn't go away. There was no solution. He couldn't just ignore this and hope it would sort itself out. He decided to knock, telling himself that last night hadn't been so bad. Besides, they would have to get used to each other eventually. It's not like she was going anywhere. Adele? Are you in there? Just like yesterday, she opened the door and looked at him with frightened eyes. Come and sit with me, he said. She followed him out of the bedroom and sat at the table again, in the same spot as yesterday. He questioned her again on her activities of the day, but she didn't give him any more than yesterday, and only spoke yes or no answers. They seemed to settle into a bit of a routine after that. Each day, Jay would leave for work, and when he returned, he would make food and try to talk to her while they ate. He wasn't getting far with the conversation. She never offered more than a one-word answer, but now he was becoming used to her presence. He found he was looking forward to seeing her. As the week passed, he had started to tell her all about his workday when he came home. And even though she never had anything to offer, it was a welcome change from being alone. It surprised him to find her sitting at the table when he left his room one morning. She wasn't doing anything, but he noticed she had made herself a hot drink. This was a first. In the 5 weeks she'd been living with him, she'd never helped herself to anything before. He walked past her and into the kitchen. She'd never acknowledged his presence, although Jay was certain she knew he was there. He made his coffee and set about searching for his phone. He spotted it on the table, and without thinking, he reached over Adele to grab it, supporting his weight on her shoulder to steady himself. It was almost instantaneous the way she spun around and stood lightning fast, simultaneously grabbing him by the throat and slamming his body up against the refrigerator. His feet were a few inches off the ground, but she held him with ease, even though he was a foot taller than her and considerably heavier. Jay wanted to scream, but he couldn't make a sound. She was choking him, but even if she wasn't, he would have been too terrified to speak. She held him there for what felt like an eternity to Jay, but was actually less than 20 seconds. She was almost panting. She concentrated hard on gaining control of herself and loosened the grip of her fingers around his throat. She lowered him to the ground and set him on his feet. He coughed and brought his hands up to his throat, massaging the area where they had just been. She stood in front of him, staring down at his feet. The silence between them seemed to stretch on, and she eventually looked up at him with wide eyes. Jay still had his hands around his throat, not daring to speak or move at first, until she backed up a step and set some distance between them. He had been holding his breath, but as she moved back, he let it out in a slow and controlled exhale. He closed his eyes and allowed the back of his head to rest on the door of the refrigerator, but winced as his head made contact with the hard surface. "Are you injured?" She was guarded when she spoke. It wasn't a question that contained even an ounce of sympathy. Jay gaped at her open-mouthed. "What do you think? You're the one who just flipped out on me. I thought you were going to kill me," he said, the mixture of anger and fear getting the better of him. "Oh, it was just the two of us. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try." I shouldn't try and sing. That hurts my throat. She remained silent. Oh, that's him. Okay. I was trying to figure out who was speaking here. What made you hit me? Did I make you jump? There's no way you didn't know I was there. You said your senses are more acute than any humans. It's not like you missed me. I walked right past you. The voice is in my head. Oh, in the book. Yes. Shut up. We'll talk about it later. He continued his angry rant, even though he was still afraid she would hurt him again. She could kill him with ease, but he couldn't seem to shut up. She continued to stay silent. Oh, wonderful. More long and awkward silences. Can I expect to get slammed up into the appliances every morning then? Or is today just extra special? His voice was dripping with angry sarcasm. He wanted to bite his tongue off. Now would not be a good time to goad her. She spoke slowly then, a space between every word, as if she were addressing an idiot. Are you injured? No, I'm fine. I'll be fine, he snapped. She turned and walked away, disappearing into her bedroom and closing the door behind her. She didn't come out again before Jay had left for work, and he was grateful for it. Well, that's what happens when you touch the robot. All right, we're at a break in the story. I'm going to run the ads, and then we'll keep going. Oh, I didn't realize, but we're actually pretty close to being done with the chapter. We are all right with each other. Yes, we are. It's anybody's race. It's not gonna happen. So sorry. I'm pretty much guaranteed first place. Trying, but his balls faster. Not sure how to take that. I don't know if I should be happy about it or not. So it feels like a trick question. Or not a trick question, but a trick statement. Well done, Angelic. One more for the 10 race Grand Prix. I don't know why this one's called a paperclip or the paperclip, but it is. All right, the ads are done. Although I don't think anyone in here right now is even gonna see ads. So, well, hello, Witchy. It is oval like a paperclip. Yeah, but paperclips have lots of... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Continuing on from the break. Adele was nowhere to be seen when Jay returned. He had spent the day out of the way with his head down, trying to avoid his colleagues in case they noticed his injuries. But now he was home, He loosened his tie and unbuttoned the collar of his shirt and examined the damage. There was a large, ugly, purple bruise around his neck, and it was painful to touch. Well, I'm sure this tie around his neck was just a joy then. Maya. Hello. Witchy, Maya, I hope you're both doing well. He had spent the day worrying about his current living situation. Some days he thought he could manage. He had kept out of her way by working every hour of overtime he could. He hadn't taken a day off since he returned to work. And she stayed locked in a room most of the time, and he could pretend she wasn't there. Zarias, go get that puzzle, buddy. But then today happened, and it really hit home how dangerous she was, and he was anxious. After spending all day thinking and worrying about it, he had decided his best course of action was to talk to her, trying to be as direct as possible. He knew it wouldn't be an easy task. She rarely spoke and needed a lot of coaxing to answer even basic questions. He took a few deep breaths to steady his nerves and decided there was no point in waiting. He gave a tentative knock on her bedroom door and spoke her name. When he prized the door open a little and pushed his head through the gap, he found her sitting rigid, with her back straight, staring at the blank wall. Only her eyes shifted to look at him as he entered the room. "Can I talk to you?" She didn't answer him, but she kept her gaze steady, so he knew she was listening. "Please, can you come out here and talk to me?" She nodded and rose from the bread. From the bread? Wow. She rose from the bread. Yeastily. It's not a joke. You'll never get a rye out of me. You want some bread? Actually, toast sounds good. Anyway. He sat opposite to her at the table and tried his best to control his nerves. He took a few deep breaths and worked up his courage, then began. About what happened earlier. Adele, what happened? She swallowed hard and looked at him. He could tell she was trying to organize her thoughts, but she was taking too much time and he was getting impatient. Adele? She was still thinking and not speaking. Adele, will you please just talk to me? You scared me this morning. You hurt me, and I need to know why. I need to know it won't happen again. Jay's exasperated outburst took them both by surprise. He knew that getting frustrated with her would not help, but she seemed to be being deliberately difficult. He brought his hand up to his head and rubbed his face. I'm sorry, Adele. I think this is hard for both of us. He took another deep, steadying breath. Yes, she said. Yes, it's hard for you to talk? Yes. Why? There was another long pause before she quietly and tentatively said, I've never had the freedom to speak. Jay had never considered they may not have allowed her to speak when she was at the facility. A deep sympathy settled around him. Can you tell me why you attacked me? You touched me. I didn't know you were going to do that. Jay thought back to this morning. He had placed his hand on her shoulder, but it was just an innocent action. He just needed to steady himself to reach across the table. You almost killed me because I touched your shoulder? She looked at him, and he understood she was thinking now, trying to put her words together. He held her gaze and waited a little more patiently this time. She eventually spoke, the same apprehension in her voice as she said, "Nobody has ever touched me without hurting me." "Not ever?" She didn't answer. "Not even when you were a kid?" She didn't answer. Didn't look like she was even trying to answer. She had closed down, and he knew she had no intention of answering these questions. "But I won't hurt you. I can't hurt you," he persisted. He'd just about given up on getting any more out of her when she spoke again. "My body is different to yours. It responds on instinct. My senses associate physical contact with pain. The psychological responses aren't something I can control easily." Her speech was abrupt, almost robotic. The sentences were short and simple. It was obvious she didn't find it easy to speak so many words at once. "So, you're saying you didn't mean to? It was an accident or a mistake or whatever?" The word mistake seemed to set her on edge. Jay saw how...
I'm lurking now.
Oh, thank you for the lurk, Chrissy. Can't stay because I'm streaming a few, but want to say hey. Hope your night is going well. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful stream. And thank you, Purple. It's only just beginning, which is why I'm still streaming. I just hope it doesn't get worse. Killa's here. Hey, Killa, I have a question for you. Billy. What's up, Billy? Let me know when you're ready to answer the question, Killa. I want to make sure you hear my question quite well. Hi. Okay, here's my question for you. Is your ass feeling okay after getting that spanking? For those of you that have no idea what the context of this is, Killa was teamed up with Gemma and a few others, I think, doing a charity fundraiser, Biddies for Titties. But one of the redeems ended up being for I don't remember how much. I don't remember how many biddies it was, but she ended up getting spanked. So. And yes, she was in a skirt, which made it a little bit more interesting. You need a blush emote? I walked in at the right moment, just woke up, and morning. You just never know when, interesting things are going to happen, even in a reading stream. All right, we've like 2 paragraphs, and then the chapter is over, so what the hell are we on about? There was a charity stream, Biddies for Titties, and spankings happened. That's all. Let's see. Jay saw how she visibly changed in front of him into someone who looked to be terribly afraid. Adele, what's the matter? He asked her. There was a look of shock on his face as he took in her terrified expression. She couldn't answer this time, and he let it go, feeling a deep amount of sympathy for her. He hadn't given much thought to how mistreated she must have been, but she had just admitted to never having been touched without someone intending to cause her pain. This was a monumental amount of neglect or abuse. There was no wonder she was so nervous around people. Why am I not surprised Atkinson can visualize it clearly? Well, I can visualize it because I saw it happen. It's okay. It's okay, he soothed. We can keep working on the talking thing. You'll get better. He smiled at her, hoping she would understand that he didn't want her to be afraid of him, any more than he wanted to be afraid of her. She kept her silence. See? That's much better. He laughed sarcastically as he got up and walked away. And that concludes chapter 11. All right. The 5G, even though full bars, is horrible. Oh, you're at the airport. I wonder where you're going. Let's find out who won the Grand Prix. And then I know it's only been one chapter and basically an hour, but I feel like crap. And so we're going to find someone to raid out to. You're flying home. That's good. And hopefully on Tuesday I'll be feeling much better. But I at least wanted to get on and say hello, read a chapter, because reading really does make me feel better. It's just physically doesn't make me feel better. But anyway, can you imagine if reading a book helped you actually feel physically better? That would be interesting. Third place goes to Rexter. Good job, Rexter. That can only mean that, well, I think we all know who came in second. Oh, I thought it might have been Angelic, but Kay came in second. Congratulations, Kay. Well done. And of course, yours truly coming in first. Sorry, except not. You missed 3 races? Well, let's take a look. You won 2. Angelic won 1. And you were in 7 races. Angelic was in 6. So, and then from there, it's just a matter of, of the 6 and 7 races, what position did you come in each? So there you go. But look at that dominating point lead, 151 to 109. It can't be helped. I am sorry. I mean, I'm not that sorry. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay. Let's take a look. I'm not used to raiding out at this time, so it happens. I had a distraction with no respect for boundaries. Oh, yeah, well, that happens. Good night. Y'all feel better? Thank you. I will. Eventually. 'Tis the season. Shifting temperatures up and down and up and down and up and down. It is what it is. We're gonna go and raid Professor Petty. We don't usually get to raid them, so I think we will. Please copy the message. I would appreciate that. Invalid username. Did I? Oh, yep, I sure did. There we go. Now we got it. Thank you for being here, even though I know it was a really short stream. I appreciate it all the same. Tuesday, I will do my best to make it up to you. But until then, you know how we do it here. Take care of yourselves. Send me well wishes. Take care of each other. And I hope you have a fantastic night.